This episode is sponsored by FX's Kindred, the original series only on Hulu. Based on Octavia E. Butler's best-selling novel, FX's Kindred centers on Dana James, a young Black woman and aspiring writer. Dana begins to settle into her new home in Los Angeles and is violently pulled back and forth in time. She emerges at a 19th century plantation and is confronted with secrets she never knew ran through her blood. FX's Kindred, all episodes now streaming only on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Carvana. Let's say you need a new car. Well, a new used car. Now this is my groove car. A U car. Now, what if you could seal the deal and order it to your door 100% online? Buyer's remorse? No such thing. Take a week to love it or return it. Sound good? Carvana. They'll drive you happy. Availability may vary by market. Visit Carvana.com or download the app.
Bwaaa! Bwaaa trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Okay, you ready?
Absolutely, Wimatanya.
Wimatanya indeed.
What's it doing?
Hello, everybody. Welcome
Hello.
back to...
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Bwaaa, a King of the Hill rewatch podcast. I am Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, we are at Season 2, Episode 4 already.
Yeah, I know it's
crazy,
moving
right?
along. Yeah, it's crazy. I think so.
So, I want to... and I haven't told you about this, but
No, this
I'm
is
gonna
all out of the blue here. I like this. I like this. Cutting edge stuff.
This is completely out of the blue here. A guy sent me a message the other day, and I'm looking here to try to find his name. He likes our show.
Oh, cool.
And he likes our show better than the other King of the Hill shows, which I don't think there are any. But
well, there's some still releasing episodes, but
I'm just
not
gonna
sure.
pretend like there aren't any.
Okay.
But he sent me a message, and boy, I am having trouble finding it. But anyway, let me give you the gist of this message. Okay, the gist of this message is I like your show. I listen to it when I'm walking. But you guys miss some things. You don't necessarily get everything right all the time. And so at this point in reading this message, there are one or two ways that I could react. I could either be like, screw you, get out of here. You know, we're doing our own thing. Or I could be like, oh yeah, really? How can we help? You know, how can we do better?
Yeah, for sure.
And so I responded that way with, well, I'd love for you, because he offered to put together kind of a document for us to validate some of the facts.
Okay.
And so what I'm telling you is I believe we have a producer in the midst of our listeners who is going to be kind of a fact checker for us. I wish I could find that message, because I would love to call his name out right now and tell you exactly who he is, but I can't find it.
Well, that's great. Any help? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think that any help is good help, honestly.
Oh, any help is good help. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That, and I mean,
and the guy really cared about the fact that we get it right. And
he might have better information, or he might actually have the because I don't have the DVDs, and the DVDs do have a lot of extras.
Hey, man,
and
I'm totally down with it.
I mean,
I'm
working with the material that we have. Hulu doesn't have all the in-depth dive on it.
No. So I am really looking forward to getting that first one. Sir, if you will send me another message, I would appreciate it, because I can't find that one. And maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe I'm losing a bunch of messages. But anyway, we want to thank everybody for listening. And,
yeah, absolutely.
If you've got something to tell us or tell us that we're doing something wrong, super happy to listen and take any and all feedback. But anyway, dude, reach out to me again because we would love your help.
Oh, absolutely.
So we are on season 2, episode 4. This is Hilloween.
Hilloween.
Obviously
It's a Halloween episode.
A Halloween episode, a holiday episode.
October 26th, 1997.
Yeah. So we start Tuesday, October 28th. That's where this episode starts. And this episode is one of those that it starts differently than you've seen on any other episode, like it's an overhead shot.
Yeah.
So the one that it brings back to mind to me is the original one where they start by working on the truck.
Yeah, they show the neighborhood or whatever.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that one, but it is nighttime. And what we see is somebody drawing an outline around somebody like somebody's dead on the ground.
Yeah.
Right. And so we find out once the chalk goes around his face that it is Dale. Dale's laying on a piece of wood, and Hank has been tracing him with chalk to do a body outline.
Yeah, and he's got his cigarette in his mouth still.
Right. And so they're afraid that it looks like the guy died with his tongue sticking
out. Yeah, because of the cigarette.
That's right. He said, and Dale's like, let me try again. I can look deader.
No way, man.
Which is
dead is dead. Yeah.
So we're talking about Hank building basically a haunted house for the school.
Yeah, he says he's the general contractor of the school's haunted house.
Contractor. We've got Boomhauer up being hung in the garage at the same time, and he starts griping about the fact that he's been in that harness for a very long time.
Yeah, he's talking about a dang old wedgie city up here, man.
Dang old wedgie city. Well, it's a small price to pay, Boomhauer. And so, Hank goes on to talk about how he's the school's haunted house general contractor, and it's his responsibility to bring the job in on time, under budget
and over scary.
Over scary,
yeah.
That's right.
And then Bill,
Bill
picking
comes
his
in.
ass.
Bill comes in and says, it's a dang whole thing. I got a wedgie too.
Myself too, yeah.
So Bill is talking about his wedgie with an axe sticking out of his head, which is wonderful. And then we hear Peggy calling for Hank.
Telling her it's dinner time. I'm stirring in the cheese
She's
powder.
stirring in the cheese now. So, yeah. But Hank's like, hey, Pegleg, can you come out here and give me a hand? And all the guys are kind of like giggling and going off to the side or whatever. And so they want to try it out on Peggy and see
try
what
to
happens.
get a gotcha moment from her.
Right. And so he's like, hey, Pegleg. Again, I love when he calls her Pegleg.
Yeah, hey, Pegleg.
Can you come out here? I want you to help me with something. And then he shoves a witch in her face, and everybody's laughing.
It hits her with a gotcha.
Yeah, it gets her. And she's like, it took a year of my life off.
Take a year of my life off, which just sounds so weird how she said it, year off of my life.
That's right. And, we find out that Hank really wants to give Bobby the same kind of Halloween he had when he was a kid.
Yeah, and then he kind of reminisces a little bit about it too here in I guess it's further down.
He's gonna scare the pants off the kids, is what he says.
Yeah.
Right. And then he talks about having the perfect Halloween, just like when he was a kid. And then we go into a flashback again of the boys as kids.
Kids all dressed up.
Hank is wearing his
little devil outfit,
goofy little devil suit. Yep, and he's running up and down the streets. And then they end up at this lady's house.
Well, if you look too at Boomhauer's is funny because it's not a white sheet; it's a sheet,
right.
But it's got flowers or something.
It's like a flower pattern.
It looks like a 70s, like a 70s pattern.
And then also Dale dressed up kind of like a hippie.
Yeah,
he's got the tie-dye shirt and the peace thing on his head and all that stuff. And then Bill, for some reason, is a convict. So
yeah, I don't know.
Not real sure what's going on there. But yes, Boomhauer's is my favorite because of the flowers on the sheet
and the dang old Boo man.
Yeah, and so the lady opens the door, and of course, Boomhauer is talk about a dang old boo.
Yeah.
And then Dale as a child, I just love these flashbacks, by the way.
Yeah, I do too.
Dale as a child is
you got any candy cigarettes?
Cigarettes. Yeah. And then we move on to them only getting one piece of candy, and they're very upset about the fact that it's only one. And then we see the boys out doing some pranks.
Yeah, but this is the funny thing about the pranks. So they do the pranks and they egg the house and they toilet paper it, and then the last thing they say is Dale's house is next.
That's right.
like why the hell are you gonna go? Like he's right there with y'all. Y'all gonna go
They're
destroy
knocking
his
down
house.
Hank's mailbox. I mean, it says Hills on it.
Yeah, it says
They
Hills
knock
on
it
it.
down.
Yeah.
But they're egging houses. They're toilet paper and everything, just like kids do on Halloween. They're shaving cream cars. They're doing all the stuff, and then you find out that they're doing their own parents' houses.
Yeah,
so
I guess it's
I'm not
safe from
really
getting in trouble.
So then we get back to Hank, and he's like, I think I'll go call my mom. You know,
Yeah.
I guess he feels bad about knocking her mailbox over.
Which is really funny because right after that, when they come back to reality, and there's Hank, he kind of looks like he has like a look on his face where he looks a little ashamed.
He's almost like ashamed or tearing up
like,
or something.
I can't really talk. I can't really tell Bobby that.
Yeah. Then we go to Peggy. She's inviting Luann to come on down to Megalomart with her because they've got a special on. You buy 2 masks, they'll put
punch
the nose holes in for free.
Yeah.
Luann says she can't go because she is going to a
youth fellowship meeting.
Yep, a youth fellowship meeting. And then we get. She says that she's going to deliver hot meals to old people
and then blow on it.
Blow on them. Yeah,
That killed
that's
me.
my favorite part.
That killed me.
Blow on them.
I got a funny thing about this Dalmatian thing here. A little trivia question.
Yeah, so we end up with Peggy and Bobby and Hank all at Megalomart, and they're trying to pick out Bobby a costume.
Yeah, and he grabs the Dalmatian costume, which is kind of funny because at this same time, Pamela Adlon, who voices Bobby, she was doing the voice on the Disney animated TV show 101 Dalmatians, the series.
Really?
Yeah, so I wonder if that. I'm
would
pretty
imagine,
sure. Yeah, she was doing the voice of a Dalmatian called Lucky, but I thought that was a cool fact. And our fact checker out there.
Heck yeah, man! Check those.
You're
facts.
gonna have to back me up on that because I'm pretty sure that's the golden truth.
That's right.
But
so they are looking through these what is classic Halloween packaging to me. Those boxes that had the cellophane on the front of them, and had the
with
plastic
like
masks in them.
and it's got the clip at the top that's black, like the black plastic piece that hangs.
Well, even before that, they would put them in cardboard boxes.
Oh, okay.
And the cardboard box had the cellophane on the front of it, so you could just see the mask and what was folded up behind it.
Yeah,
but
we
they would
just
all
used,
come in these separate boxes. Yeah, now they just hang on those.
Well, not for
hangers.
Halloween costumes. When I was growing up, it was whatever clothes that you didn't really fit any. I was a werewolf
true,
one
too.
year, and like the pants were kind of flooding. So my mom just cut them into shorts and made them werewolf shorts.
Yeah.
And I was just like
werewolf shorts.
I just had mascara for hair on my face and chest, and then my shorts were cut up with a little bit of blood on them.
Yep,
I was like 7.
Yeah, my kids. I had a boy and a girl, and one year I did. I would go out all the way on some of their costumes, and one year my son, he couldn't have been more than 5 or 6, maybe 8 at the most. He went as Leatherface, and
that's awesome.
I'm telling you, I went to Goodwill. I bought him a wig, just like a black, hair wig, and cut it all down. And then bought a rubber mask, but I cut it into pieces and then re-sewed it together.
Oh wow, that's awesome!
Went and bought an apron, stained it with fake blood, and then bought a plastic chainsaw, beat it all up, spray painted it a little bit, threw blood on it, and all this stuff. Man,
That's awesome.
He looked like a tiny little Leatherface. Yeah,
That's great.
It was really great. And my daughter that year, I believe she went as an undead prom queen.
Okay.
And so she had a fancy dress, and she had dead roses and a broken crown, and just looked like a zombie.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was really, that's one of my favorite Halloweens. But they are going through all of these costumes in these boxes, which I love that part. And Hank is questioning what they're finding.
How
here.
is a Dalmatian scary?
Yeah, and then Peggy's like, well, they can bite you. They go right for the groin. That's right. But he's asking, where are the monsters and the ghosts and the vampires and stuff? I see Elmo,
Aladdin, and then Jenny McCarthy.
Jenny McCarthy. He's like, I don't even know what these things are. So next thing, we end up going over to the youth fellowship meeting where they also hold the CPR classes. And they've got a special speaker in tonight, and it's a new member of their church.
It's really funny how they announce her, though. They announce her as a woman who has made herself, or sorry, not a woman, but a member of our church who has made herself known in a very short time through a series of gutsy letters, complaints, and threats. Miss Junie Harper, everybody.
Right, yeah. And I love the fact that she likes that intro. I mean, the look on her face is just so
she
smug.
Loves it.
Yeah.
And I didn't really hear it in her voice, so hats off to Sally Field for this.
Yeah.
For like the voice acting in this.
That's amazing.
But it's Sally Field for Junie Harper. And I didn't hear it. I'm going to have to go back and I'm going to listen to it again to see if I could hear it at all. But at first, usually you could hear who they are, but I really couldn't hear that
I
one.
literally watched the end of this right before we started recording. And I would have never told you.
No, I would have never guessed.
Field.
It just doesn't sound. I mean, it sounds Southern, whereas everybody else sounds Minnesotan or something. They sound like they're from that way.
Yeah.
But she sounded really Southern, so I guess that would be reminiscent of Sally Field's voice. She's got a very Southern voice.
So she says, "Hey, why don't we start things off with a little quiz?" This is Junie Harper speaking. Or
I
Sally
hope it's
Field.
open Bible.
And Lou Ann's like, "I hope it's open Bible." And now she starts holding up pictures. She holds up a picture of a witch, and she says, "Can you tell me what this is?" And Lou Ann's like, "Witch?" She says, "That's very good. What's your name?" Lou Ann Platter. She introduces herself. Lou Ann, you answered that so fast.
Yeah. Do you know any witches yourself?
Do you know any witches yourself?
Like we're in, like it's 1700 Salem.
Yeah. Well, it does feel very Red Scare-ish here. You know, she's like, "Do you know any communists?"
Do you know any communists?
But she asks her if she knows any witches, and Lou Ann's argument is witches aren't real, and she says yes, they are. They even have their own holiday. And then she quizzes them again. This is not a real hard quiz, but she quizzes them again and asks them, what October holiday is associated with witches, goblins, and Satanists. And Lou Ann, of course, answers Halloween. Lou Ann's feeling really good about herself.
Which it's funny that Halloween really is. I don't really like. I know most of what we celebrate is like commercialized Halloween, obviously, but the actual Halloween is called All Saints Eve. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it has the same connotations as witches and goblins and Satanists.
No, I think it was a Druid holiday.
Yeah, it was a
something
Druid
like
thing.
that. Yeah. I think it's where we get a lot of our stuff, but that's for a different podcast. So she is quizzing all of these kids that are sitting around. It's weird to me that this youth group is full of so many what look like adults.
Yeah, there's a lot of adults in this youth group. It's a little sketchy.
They seem a little old to be part of a youth group. Yeah. But anyway, she's telling Lou Ann how smart she is, and Lou Ann's like, "Thank you for noticing," which is a weird way to respond to that. But now we go back to the Megalomart, and boy, there is quite a line. There is a huge
big line
of people waiting to check out. And it's Hank and Peggy and Bobby there in line, and the issue is that they still need a costume for Bobby.
Yeah,
that's what Peggy says. But at least we got our treats. And then Hank starts picking through the treats. You got your Eat Wells and your sugar-free, low-fat fun bars. Yeah. And so he questions Peggy, what is this crap? And he goes, it's Halloween. It's for trick-or-treaters. It's not for diabetics. Yeah. Peggy's like, well, I don't want to gain 10 pounds like I did last year. And Bobby gets very defensive.
Extremely defensive.
Like, so don't eat it. Just
leave it there. No one said you could touch my candy anyway.
Right. Nobody said you can touch my candy anyway. So we get past that without a costume for Bobby still. We get back to the youth group with Junie Harper, and she's still quizzing people or telling people about it feels like she's kind of preaching about Halloween at this point. Right?
Yeah, it's kind of weird what she says too, because she makes this big deal about Halloween being scary, but I feel like this youth group is more terrifying than anything that's on the streets on Halloween.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
She tells them that the ancient druids celebrated Halloween by eating babies by the light of their jack-o'-lanterns, and then they danced.
Yeah, and then they danced.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you dance?
Why wouldn't you dance
after you eat a baby by the light of a jack-o'-lantern?
And it's
then
customary.
We are all the way at Wednesday, October 29th.
And that's what I like about the show, too, is this is the first show where you have these, like, date. It shows like the day, like a setup for the day, because they're going day by day on this episode through this whole saga with Junie Harper. So I really think that's neat.
I don't remember that being a thing, and I don't remember it being a thing going forward either.
No, but it is
maybe
a very
when
cinematic
she falls
episode.
out of the plane or something. Maybe that's a date thing. But I just don't remember there being dates on the screen like this.
No, I don't either. Well, like I said, this is a very cinematic episode, and I think and this one kind of
this is a very fact checker type episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know John Rice did this episode, and he also did the episode Keeping Up with the Joneses, which I think those two episodes are both really the cigarette episode, which they're both cinematic. I think these two episodes have a lot of that's true different angles and different kind of stuff that they do.
Yeah. So Hank is again. We're all the way to Wednesday now. This is the 29th, I believe. Right? Isn't that what I said?
Yeah, I think so.
And Hank is basically passing down the costume to Bobby that the grandma kept. He's very happy that grandma kept his old costume, and it is that devil costume that we saw him in earlier.
Yeah. And
Hank is also telling Bobby that he had a little laugh that went along with this.
Yeah, and then he does this cackle.
He does a that kind of thing, and then you get Bobby laughing, and it's not so much. It's not quite the same thing.
It's more creepy than scary.
Yeah.
His dad says he says scary, and then his dad goes, well, no, it was disturbing.
It was disturbing.
Yeah,
that's
it was
right.
Disturbing,
it's a little
Bobby,
more cringeworthy.
But, the boy ain't right.
Now we get Luann comes in, and she is all kinds of worked up. Which is weird to me because with the dates and everything, it seems like she was at church last night.
Mm-hmm.
Why is she worked up now? Maybe she came in late?
Or maybe
it just seems like
maybe she didn't have an opportunity to
Luann
bring it up in
doesn't
conversation.
seem like a person who can hold things in.
No, she doesn't. She's not logical either,
So she comes in. She comes in saying, Uncle Hank, Aunt Peggy, I have terrible news. Halloween is a satanic holiday. It was invented by the Druish.
Yeah, the Druish. No, honey, not Druish. The Druids.
Yeah, Peggy
corrects her
does
there.
correct her. Hank is on the defensive immediately because Hank loves Halloween. He wants to know where he heard the garbage. She says, well, it's the truth. Trick-or-treating is devil worship. And then she brings up Junie Harper. Junie Harper says so. Hank is like, no, it's just good, clean fun. It's got nothing to do with the devil. I don't want to hear any more about this or your foolishness and all that stuff.
Which is crazy, I couldn't imagine somebody putting me up in their house and then I come running in screaming about, oh, y'all are all Satanists. Y'all are doing this wrong. She's just crazy.
She's very susceptible to people's influence or
Junie Harper says so.
Anything somebody says, she is on board with it.
Well, that and whenever she's talking to, the way Junie Harper talks to her makes her feel smart, and nobody else does.
That's true.
So she gets like this, this sensation from that, I guess.
One of my favorite scenes in this is when Hank says something about it not being about the devil. It pans back to Bobby, and he picks up the tail and looks at his costume. And he's like, I'm dressed like the devil. So, yeah, there's a lot of those type moments in this one. And then Peggy, of course, is always a defender of Luann. She comes back and says, what's wrong with you? Someone put something exciting in her brain, and she just wanted to share it or show it to us. And so now we go back to Miss Junie Harper. She loves her cat, by the way.
Yeah, loves the cat, like a cat lady.
Joseph the cat, of course, the biblical name.
Yeah, the biblical name.
Yeah, and Luann is over there telling her, how they don't believe her, and she's quizzing her, they just made me look stupid, and Junie Harper's like, well, it's the devil, because the devil always wants to make you look stupid or whatever, and that way he can get more influence on you or whatever.
Whatever, yeah. Peddling influence.
It's easier for him to trick you. You can't resist him. So then they continue talking about that, and you can see that Luann is really under the influence of this Junie Harper at this point. She says, do you understand what I'm talking about here? And she's like, well, I don't know. And she's like, Satan be gone.
Yes.
She just shouts it at her. And she's like, oh yeah, now I see it. Yeah.
Now I see it. Well, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Now she sees it if somebody yells at her. But she talks about how Satan's getting very popular these days, and that's why she is sponsoring
a Hallelujah House.
Hallelujah House,
which is a righteous alternative to wicked haunted houses.
It is a righteous alternative. Now, I will tell you this, Rusty. I was part of one of these one time.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry.
So,
wait, the part of a haunted house or a Hallelujah House?
It was kind of a Hallelujah type house. Yeah, I don't remember what they called it, but it was sponsored by my church. And it was one of those things where you go in and somebody's had an abortion or something like that, right? And then, oh, my God, and they show it as scary or whatever.
Yeah.
Here's what happened at that Hallelujah House, which I'll just call it that. I don't know what we called it. But they buried a guy in the ground so that he could kind of pop up out of the dirt or whatever. And they buried him a little too far. And he lost all his circulation.
Oh, wow.
Like in the middle of this thing, they had to run out there and dig this guy up.
Dig him up real fast.
Yeah, they're like,
scary.
Oh, my God, he's going to die.
That's scarier than him popping up.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was a little frightening. The guy lost all his circulation and stuff. So
wow.
Yeah, it wasn't
That's
great.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've never been a
Great
part
memory.
of a Hallelujah House. Not that I can remember. I remember there was always... around Halloween, all the churches in the area, like some of the Baptist churches in the area, would throw something the same day as Halloween. They'd call it a fall festival or something.
Well, these days they're big on the trunk and treats.
Yeah, you got the trunk or treats, and then you got the fall festivals, and then you got the pumpkins and hay rides.
Yeah.
With the less spooky things.
They always
stuff
tend
for
to go
correctness.
with the hay ride or the
pumpkin carving.
Scarecrow,
Scarecrow.
and the pumpkin carving,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. What I really don't like is when they have the pumpkin contests and they don't let them carve the pumpkins. Instead, they just paint on them.
You know what I don't like too?
That's
Yeah, I don't like. Well, I don't. Well, yeah, I agree with that. And then I don't like too when they say that there's going to be like tons of drugs in your kid's candy.
Yeah.
I'm 32 years old and I'm still looking for candy with drugs in them.
That's a great clip right there. That's your clip from this show.
There you go.
I'm 32 years old and I'm still looking for candy with drugs in them. So Luann does the unthinkable and tells Miss Junie Harper that Hank is running a haunted house down at
the school. And she's a heavy litigator. So
she is a heavy litigator. We then go to Hank and Dale working on a guillotine, and they want to make sure they get the raise and the
rise and run.
Rise and the run.
Trough.
Correct, because he doesn't want any blood coming back at his severed head.
It needs to go away from the severed head.
That's right.
And this is where we meet Principal Moss.
This is
for the
this
first
is
time.
the first time we've met Principal Moss.
Yeah, this is the first Moss.
What I love
sighting.
about Principal Moss over the years,
Carl Moss,
is we find out that he was a good friend of theirs. He was on the football team. He was this. He was that.
Yeah,
you know.
He's somebody they know. Yeah, he's somebody they know.
He could be the fifth Beatle
Yeah,
out
he
there
could
in
have been.
in the alley. Yeah. So he comes in, and the thing about Hank is he's always respectful to him until he can't be anymore, because there does come a day when he can't be respectful to Principal Moss, because Principal Moss turns into a doofus at one point.
Well, I think that's probably why they don't have him as the fifth Beatle.
Yeah, that's probably true. So he brings in Miss Junie Harper, and Junie Harper is saying that there is a separation of church and state, and that they can't have this haunted house unless they change some stuff up. And
you missed a joke real quick.
I'm sorry.
When Principal Moss walks in, he tells Dale, he goes, "Well, this is a school. You have to take that cigarette outside." And he goes, "Yes, sir." And then he goes, "Jackass says what?" And then, of course, Principal Moss says what? And then Dale does that dry laugh on the way out the door.
Yeah, I don't know why Dale thinks it's okay to just smoke in the gym.
He smokes anywhere.
He really does.
Like, if you notice in the show, it doesn't matter. He's around flammable. You got to think the guy works with flammable chemicals all day as a bug guy. So, yeah, I don't know.
There's a scene coming up that just floors me with Dale when he gets a little scared. But, she starts questioning the skeleton. She is talking about reading fortunes with casting of bones and things, even though it's just a cardboard skeleton up on the thing or whatever. And then she takes a look at the witch and says that's got to go because you can't have witches in these things. And Hank is basically at the point where he's like, I'm not taking any of this stuff out. I want these kids to have a real scary Halloween, and then Miss Junie Harper pops up with, I'm thinking this whole House of Horrors is wrong. And Bill's like, well, maybe we can make it a house of pancakes.
Yeah.
I'm just brainstorming, Hill.
Shut up, Bill.
Shut up, Bill. And so Hank is steadfast in this. He's at the point where he's like, we either do this haunted house the right way or I'm not doing it at all. And says, what's it going to be?
Yeah, we can't afford another lawsuit. They said they
Principal
blew the
Moss.
budget fighting wheelchair ramps and left-handed scissors.
Left-handed scissors. So
they do exist, though. As a left-handed human being, they do have scissors that feel better in your hand left-handed.
Sure, and I can see that one. But who fights wheelchair ramps is my
question.
Know.
Well, I mean, if it's on the school budget.
And so Hank is like, you know what? That's the way it goes. Then Boomhauer, grab Hagatha. He's talking about the witch.
Yeah, the witch Hagatha.
Let's get out of here. Yeah. And so then Bill pops up, well, kids sure do like pancakes, which is a wonderful joke. And then we're back at the Hill house, and Hank is, this is like a lot of the things we've talked about. It's just so touching because basically Hank wants to go all out because he's afraid Bobby's going to be a teenager next year and he's not going to go out and trick-or-treat anymore, and he wants to do it one more time with his son, and be with him and do all these things.
So now we're starting to get into like the moral part of the story and the whole, like, it's all starting to tie together. So it's never about Halloween. It's just for Hank, it's just about him being able to share something with his son.
Right.
He feels like his son is reaching this point where on Halloween he's going to want to go hang out with his buddies instead of being there with his dad. And I guess that's I haven't reached that part yet in fatherhood, but I imagine that's
it happens
big
so
struggle.
Quickly.
Yeah, I imagine that's a big struggle at being a dad with a growing boy.
Kids sure do love pancakes.
Yeah, they do. I know mine does.
So we're back at the Hill house, and it's Hank and Luann and Peggy in there, and they are Hank is going over how Bobby's going to be a teenager and he's not going to want to do this anymore. It's our last Halloween together. Junie Harper ruined it and all that. And honestly, Peggy, being very supportive, says, there's nothing about separation of church and garage in the Constitution.
Yeah.
And so she gives Hank the idea, let's
Make
just
a
do a
haunted
haunted house in
garage.
the garage. Yeah. Now, Luann is quick to pipe up, and she's like, no, Uncle Hank, you can go to hell. And so she's still worried about everybody going to hell because they're participating in Halloween, because Junie Harper said that a haunted house is the devil's mousetrap and fun is the cheese.
Yeah, and he goes, Luann, just when I thought you said the stupidest thing ever, you keep talking. Junie says I'm smart. That's what she says. So,
don't trick me into thinking I'm not.
Yeah, so you can tell her anything, and she thinks that's what it is.
Yeah. And then Peggy, being
she's got to keep it all simmered down.
Yes.
For now, anyway.
She's like, number one, Luann's not stupid, and Hank, and neither is Hank's idea for a haunted house. You can have your haunted garage, and you can be smart. That's one of my favorites from this.
Yeah, I like that.
You can be smart. It is summertime here in Central Texas, and I don't know about you, but I am already sweating.
Oh, yeah. I've got swamp ass and ball sweat more than I know what to do with. And, if it wasn't for Ballsy and their products, I'm sure right now I'd be able to smell my own balls. So I'm really, thankful for their products. Yeah.
Your cleanliness is a reflection of you, especially below the belt. And, I think about cleanliness a lot because, like, I've got a beard. I've had one for a long time. You've got one. But I never really think about taking care of my down under as I do my face.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't think that a lot of people, think about keeping their balls clean and fresh.
No.
I think that's an endemic in males is keeping our groin area clean.
Yeah, because, it's no secret that balls are prone to odor, sweat, irritation. So you need something like Ballsy.
Yeah, so guys, you need to upgrade your balls game with Ballsy. Yep. They've got quality, long-lasting products formulated to keep you fresh, comfortable, and confident. And for me, I tried out the ballsy trimmer, the beard trimmer part of it. I shaved my mustache with it.
That's the cool thing. It comes with both
yeah,
heads.
It comes with both heads.
So it's not like you have to use the same head on your face as you do your intimate regions.
Yeah, your intimate regions.
Yeah.
So, they got your sack covered with a ball wash, sack spray, and more. And I'll attest to the ball wash. My balls have never smelled cleaner and felt fresher ever in the entirety of my life. So
yeah, I took a small sample of friends and family, and they said my balls smelled wonderful.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's good. My dog
it
told
was
me
uncomfortable after that.
Yeah,
but
I'm
still,
sure it was.
Yeah. So, when you go to Ballsy, you can get different things like you can take a quiz to see where to start. They have a sack pack. The sack pack has all of it. It's the ultimate
trifecta.
It is the ultimate trifecta of products specially formulated to take care of your most prized possessions, which should be your balls.
And the big thing is it is made right here in the U.S. of A.
In the U.S. of A. That's right. And it always will be.
Always will be.
Or so tell the people at Ballsy.
Or so says Ballsy.
So
and
says
they
Ballsy.
have over 200,000 currently satisfied customers with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you've got to give it a try.
Yeah.
There's no risks involved.
Yeah.
And the only thing that could happen out of this is clean, fresh balls.
That's what I'm saying, right? So what you need to do is go to ballwash.com, put in promo code KOTH, as in King of the Hill. So ballwash.com, promo code KOTH, and you'll receive 20% off your order of $50 or more. That's 20% off when you go to ballwash.com and put in promo code KOTH. So says Ballsy.
Balls.
Hey, Rusty.
Hey, Mike.
Your dog deserves tasty, healthy, real food, not kibble. Don't give him kibble.
No, I like to give my dog food that's created by a vet that exceeds all industry standards.
There you
Fresh
go.
dog food, stable life, a stable shelf life, and affordable. This food here, Sundays for Dogs, Mike, it's
Sundays for Dogs.
It's 40% less expensive
Holy
than leading fresh
crud.
brands.
Yeah, and it's like you say, it's created by a vet. It's shelf stable, which I don't get those dog foods that are in the freezer and refrigerator and stuff. That just seems like a lot. I've got a friend of mine who makes his own cat food, which is weird. But
it's especially weird when you could get it from Sundays for Dogs.
That's what I'm saying, right? I mean, he's got cats, so he's weird anyway. But
well, he could feed it Sundays for Dogs.
Feed his cats to Sundays for Dogs?
It's created by a vet. It's fresh dog food. It's customized for dog size, breed, and activity level. So all he has to do is take a quick quiz and see if it's right for his pup.
Yeah, you just go to sundaysfordogs.com. You take the quiz. Best part about all this, well, let me tell you about some of the benefits first. You're going to get increased excitement from your dog about eating, which my dogs are not super excited about eating because I buy them junk, but not anymore. You'll get better stool, which, if your dogs stay outside all day, that's a big deal. You'll get more energy out of your dogs, improve weight, softer coat, just a better life for your dogs if you feed them this
my
stuff.
dog loves it. It's real easy for her to eat. She's an older dog, but it's really easy for her to eat. And
she's 104.
She's 104, yes. Right. And the fact
not
that
in
it's
dog years,
not in dog years, in human
weird.
years. Yeah, she's extremely, extremely old, and I think it's due to eating Sundays for Dogs.
Sure.
Which the quality ingredients are really good for her health. The crap they put in, a lot of the store brand stuff is just junk for them. Yeah. And a lot of filler and stuff like that.
It's like feeding your kid Doritos all day.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like a bag of Doritos.
That kid's going to stop up at some point.
And Sundays for Dogs is like a bag of carrots with...
It is. It's like carrots and real meat and things
just
like
good
that.
Stuff. Yeah.
If you go to sundaysfordogs.com and take that quiz and figure out the right plan for your pup, the best part about that is you can get 35% off your first order if you use the code KOTH, as in King of the Hill, KOTH, and you'll get 35% off your order.
Well, 35%.
That's a big deal.
That
most of these things you hear is 10%, but for this one, you go to sundaysfordogs.com, enter KOTH as the code, and get 35% off.
Yeah, that's great.
Woof.
Bwaaa trucks fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas.
And then Luann is got her feet pretty planted in this Junie Harper world, and she says, Junie Harper says, Hank interrupts her and says, last time I checked, it wasn't Junie Harper's face in the stained glass window at the Arlen First Methodist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hank is now talking to Bobby, and he's talking to him about how you're going to be too old next Halloween to go out and go trick or treating, which is a big surprise to Bobby.
Yeah, huge
one.
Surprise.
He doesn't.
He's like, what? Yeah, he's not ready.
This is the first time anything.
I think Hank is
registered.
aging him up faster than Bobby is really like. He's not there yet where the Hank thinks he is.
Bobby is that kid that at 15 comes to my door with a pillowcase and he's put like one mark on his face and he's
yeah,
he's
got like a couple drops of blood, corn syrup with freaking red dye in it. Yeah,
he just put absolutely no thought into it at this point.
He's just there for the candy.
Hank's taking Bobby out, and he's telling him, he's basically telling him how to raise hell on Halloween. He's got the eggs, he's got the toilet paper, and he says, who can use a little respect right now is Dale, and they're going to toilet paper and egg his house.
Yeah.
Which, poor Dale, number one, but if anybody deserves it, it's probably him.
Probably Dale. Yeah, probably Dale.
So now we see... Well, Hank, by the way, the respect comment is because Hank told him, it's a sign of respect.
Yeah,
for
it's
you
a
to
sign
do
of
this
respect
to people's
to
houses.
do that and stuff like that. And then you hear Junie Harper standing outside hollering for a cat and stuff like
calling
that.
for Joshua.
And then Hank and Bobby have this interaction, and then Hank's telling him, there's suddenly reminded of a Bible quote. So they direct their attention instead of them. They were going to attack Dale's house. Now they direct their attention to Junie B. Harper, and he says, well, do unto others. And Bobby, who at this time is showing maturity in his consciousness, says, I don't know, Dad. This is vandalism, and vandalism isn't cool. And
that
he looks at Bobby.
Sounds very much like something you would hear in school.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Vandalism isn't cool. And then he goes, Bobby, that attitude is a little immature, which is hilarious because he's, just the whole situation.
Yeah, and he's like, now, come on, you got to have some backspin. Son shows him how to throw the toilet paper and all that stuff. Yeah. And then Junie Harper is what's going on, and she's like, I'm not afraid of you, Satanists. Come on, boy, I won't be, and all that. And Hank is trying to run Bobby out of there because Bobby...
They're both running.
What's funny to me is the first thing that Bobby says is, it's the fuzz.
Oh yeah.
Like he's been watching too many TV shows or something. It's the fuzz.
Yeah. So
after him.
on this part here too. So she jumps in her car, and when she's screaming, "I'm not afraid of you, Satanist" or whatever, and then she's chasing him down, and she sees Bobby, but she runs over her own cat
and doesn't stop. Yeah.
She backs up over the cat and keeps going. So she hits it with the back tire, the front tire, then pulls out the driveway, and then chases Bobby down. He gets caught on a fence.
He does.
Hank pulls him over the fence, and then that's when they're talking about ditching the evidence and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, they end up behind the fence. Quick ditch the evidence, and so they chunk it. And this is the part I was talking about with Dale. It hits his house.
Yeah, it hits his roof, and as soon as it does, he dives to the floor in his underwear.
Well, number one, here's Dale smoking and drinking with no clothes on.
Watching the Jeffersons?
Other than his tidy whities, and in the background you hear so it's not the Jeffersons, it's Sanford and Son.
Sanford and Son. I'm sorry, Sanford and Son.
And then you hear this clunk whenever the eggs and the toilet paper hit his house, and he just hits the deck.
I got one for the fact checker. So Sanford and Son was from a TV show. They got it from England called Stepford and Son.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll let him fact check me on that one.
So what's funny to me is that he hits the ground. And he's screaming.
Yeah, like he was ever. I wonder if Dale ever saw Combat in Desert Storm or something. The reason why he's diving around like this.
I don't think so. The dude has PTSD, but I think it's all because he is just so into the conspiracy theories and stuff like that.
I think that's what it is. He's just a nutcase.
What's funny to me is not him screaming and hitting the floor. It's when he sees a bug, he screams again. There's a bug on the floor, and that's what he fights. He fights bugs all the time. So next thing we see is we're back at the Hank Hill house, and what I'm assuming is the sheriff.
Yeah, county sheriff or something, police officer.
Yeah, because the guy's got a cowboy hat and a badge and the whole thing, right? And
some municipal cops in some areas of Texas have cowboy hats.
Yeah, that's true.
I know out in West Texas, I was going to Colorado in 2019. I got pulled over for speeding, and that guy had on a cowboy hat, and he was a city cop from whatever city it was in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it was a speed trap town.
Yeah, we got a lot of those around here.
Yeah, that's all they are.
So the sheriff or cop or whatever is questioning Bobby. He's asking if he paid a little visit to Miss Junie Harper's house tonight. And Bobby is real sheepish, trying to look back and forth to his dad and stuff. And his dad, shakes his head and or nods. And Bobby's, yes, sir. And so
Hank comes to his defense pretty quick.
Hank
Says,
does
"Don't jump
come to
all
his
over the
defense.
boy. The truth is, it's my fault." And then before he could explain anything, Junie B. Harper jumps in and goes, "Well, of course it is.
Of course it is.
Yeah, his antisocial behavior is the result of your whole family's anti-Christian values."
And that's what gets Peggy.
That's what gets Peggy, because like Peggy will let you go to a point, but
That's
once you mess with her man or her
Don't
son,
mess with her family.
and that's
No.
outside of even Luann. Luann doesn't even count in this part of the conversation. If
Right.
you're messing with Bobby and Hank, it doesn't matter who you are.
That's
So
exactly
she goes,
right.
"You hold it right there, Junie Harper. You are out of order." I go to church too, and this kills. This is one of my favorite lines of the show. I've raffled and bingoed and bake sale my way as close to the good Lord as you. So don't try to one up me, because I will one up yours.
I will one up yours.
And then they do this back and forth between Junie B and him and Hank, where she goes, "The complaints of fools will destroy them." Proverbs, "Get out of my house." Exodus.
Yeah, and then Hank is putting Bobby to bed, and he says, "You're just a old Halloween Hellraiser,
like your old man, yeah.
man." And then he has to tell him, "But I'm very disappointed in you," so that Peggy can hear it and know that he has kind of punished Bobby. You see a little bit of a grin go across Bobby's face, because he knows he still wants to be like his dad.
Yeah, for sure.
Still wants to do all the things his dad does. And then we see it's the next day. This is the 30th. So it's Thursday, October 30th. And Hank and Bobby are driving around, and they see some of the carnage from when they were out TPing and egging things.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things is the fact that they smashed a birdhouse. And you see the birdhouse on the ground. There's two birds there, and they're still trying to get into the smashed birdhouse.
Yeah, they're still trying to fight their way into it.
Which I
Yeah.
think is very funny.
Yeah, that is
One
funny.
of the birds just jams his head right down into the broken birdhouse at this point. But you can see it on Bobby that he goes, "I'll never use toilet paper in anger again." But he is a little disappointed in the fact, because he's kind of fighting these two things in himself now. Do I go with my dad and be a hellraiser and do all these things, which when you look back at what Hank did, it wasn't a whole lot of hell raising, but I get it. And then on the other hand, you've got Junie Harper, and you've got the Lord, and you've got all of these bad things, and you got the sheriff involved or whoever, right?
Yeah.
And Bobby is really fighting those demons inside him.
Yeah, it's
now,
weighing on him.
Luann stops by Bobby's room, is the next scene we see, and she's concerned about Bobby because she doesn't hear the TV on.
Yeah, which is funny.
And so Bobby has grounded himself.
Yeah. Which,
he
man,
doesn't-
shows a lot about Bobby as a person, too. That
Yeah.
he knows he did something bad and he feels bad about it. So that's good that he feels bad about it.
Well, he's his father's kid,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, because Hank would do the same thing. He would ground himself from things.
Probably, yeah.
Keep himself from doing things.
I can't use the power tools,
That's
Peggy. Yeah.
But Luann tells him how it's not his fault. It's Uncle Hank's fault
He's a
because he's a
Satanist.
Satanist. That's right.
Yeah, so she's
I mean,
she's going left field with
These
it for
are
sure.
some huge leaps she's
Yeah,
taking
she's
here.
going
But
out of
yeah.
out of the field
She's
with
telling
it.
Bobby that Uncle Hank is a Satanist and
Well, it's funny. This part right here is funny
Bobby.
with Bobby too. Yeah, because she goes, "Come on, Luann, that's the craziest thing I ever heard." And then she goes, "It's true." And he goes, "Oh dang!" like he didn't even question it. He questioned
needed
it for
like
two-
zero convincing.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, he's
dang.
like, oh dang, okay.
oh dang! He does it twice. That he says that, it kills me.
So that's why, she's saying that's why the devil doesn't want you to know the truth. So he's working through Uncle Hank, that's why he squashed all her ideas and stuff. And then she starts asking Bobby if Hank has ever made him drink blood.
He made me eat liver once.
He made me eat liver once. Yeah,
That's called a recovered memory. Think, Bobby. What else can you remember?
And so the only thing that Bobby can remember is things that have happened like in the last day.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah.
He's looking back.
Where are the vampires and monsters and
yeah,
ghosts?
because they're back in Megalomart, and he's talking about vampires and ghosts and
Yeah,
stuff.
you're a
and
regular
people are-
Halloween Hellraiser, just like your old man.
Yeah.
It's just liver. It's not going to kill you. And then he starts to see this, it's just his dad's head
his dad
laughing,
is-
and then his head turns into the devil, and then
Yeah.
boom. Oh, dank.
That's one of my
another oh, dank.
That is one of my favorite memes. Whenever you see Hank as the devil,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, be on the lookout. I'm gonna post some.
So we are back at now we're at Arlen City Hall.
Yeah.
And Dale, of all people, is up in front of the city council, I guess this is, and he is telling them that the vandalism on his house can only be described as a hate crime.
Somebody hates me.
Somebody hates
Let the record
me.
show that somebody hates Dale Dribble. They don't even call him by his right name.
That's right. That's right. And then you get, of course, Junie Harper standing up, and she's talking about how her house has been attacked by Satanists.
Satanists, yeah.
Yep. They want to know if he has any evidence. And she pulls out her damn dead cat.
Yeah, right there in
She's
the
got
courtroom.
a cooler, and she pulls out her dead cat and dumps it right on the table. Yeah, which the whole city council and everybody in the room is like,
Just
oh my
gasps.
God, yeah. I mean, who dumps a dead cat? She's doing
Junie
it just
Harper.
she's doing it just for impact. So now we're back at Hank's house, and they have set up a banner for Hank Hell's haunted house. And again, Peggy is a little concerned with, she thinks it's perfect, but she thinks that Hank Heck works a lot better
Just
than
as
Hank
well,
Hell.
yeah.
Yeah.
Works just as well.
She's really worried about the fact that he's using the word hell. Luann comes out. She's very excited because Halloween has now been canceled. She just got off the phone with Junie Harper, and she said the city council passed a curfew. Yeah, they passed a freaking curfew. To me, it sounds a little bit like martial law.
Yeah, martial law.
I mean, if
there's
you're
a curfew on Halloween because Satanists ran over Junie B. Harper's cat.
Yeah, and Hank is like, well, what about the trick-or-treaters? And Luann's like, oh, no, there won't be any trick-or-treaters because it's been canceled. You said I was wrong, but now everybody agrees with me. And he's like, not everybody agrees with you. You agree with everybody else.
Yeah.
That's where we're
and
at.
And it says, you agree with the idiot who says anything. And then Peggy still, and that's why I don't understand, like,
yeah.
Peggy has stood up for her so hard on this episode, even though there was really no need for it.
No. She is standing up for Luann once again. And Hank tells her basically, I don't care what anybody says. Tomorrow night, I'm going to show Bobby the true meaning of Halloween.
Come hell or high water.
Yeah.
It's a good Texas term.
Yeah, because Bobby wants him to be at that haunted house. And the last time he wanted him to be at something so bad,
I
he
woke up without
his
tonsils, and he opens his mouth real wide.
Yeah, just to show her, he goes, and opens up his mouth to show her that
and
he
then she
doesn't have any
says, this
tonsils.
time he may be after your soul. To the God damn Luann.
Yeah, she is. She's bought in pretty hard to this thing.
Yeah, she's sold.
Bobby says he's scared, and Luann, of course, is like, I know who can help you, Bobby. They look up at the sky like it's a cross, and you see the telephone pole looking very much like a cross.
Like a cross,
and
yeah.
And the clouds are starting to part, and then it pans down, and you
Miss
see a
Junie
picture of
Harper.
Junie Harper with her Halloween house.
Yeah.
I mean, her Hallelujah house.
The Hallelujah
Halloween
house.
Hallelujah house, I guess.
The Hallelujah holla back.
Next thing, we are on Halloween night. This is Friday, October 31st, Halloween night, and we're looking down Rainy Street, I'm assuming, and there is just nothing going on. There's a gate that's flopping back and forth, but the lights are all basically off. You see a jack-o'-lantern in the garbage, and the only thing that's really going on is this Hallelujah house. Now, it may not be on Rainy Street because I'm sure Junie Harper lives on a different street, but it's right around there.
Yep.
And here's Luann dropping Bobby off at the Hallelujah house. Bobby's thankful for letting her get him there, and he needed to get out because he hears that Satanists sacrifice virgins, and so he and Luann have to be very careful.
Yeah, then Luann looks very, like, well, maybe one of us here is a virgin.
So we both be better careful.
Yeah.
So Bobby is heading into this Hallelujah house. We go back to Hank's house, and Hank and Peggy are sitting out. This is something that I've done many times. You sit out in your driveway and just kind of watch the world go by. They're waiting for kids to show up for this haunted house.
And nobody's showing up. He can't
just
believe
nobody.
that people are actually sticking with the curfew, which I don't know what town in Texas they're in, but I know as the town that I live in Texas, if a city government said no Halloween, I think that would cause
I think you'd
more
have a
people.
bigger Halloween.
You would
Yeah.
have a bigger Halloween. Somebody would throw an event. There would be like multiple events. I mean, it would just be massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hank is questioning where Bobby's at because he's like, and this
He's
is,
been gone for a
this
while.
Is funny
yeah.
to me that he's just like, where is everybody? Oh, and where's Bobby?
And where the
You
heck
know?
is Bobby? He's
And
still out with the wind. Yeah.
Peggy sent them to the store to get more high
High
C.
C.
Yeah, because she's over there just stirring the punch for nobody.
Which, for those of you who don't know what high C is a old fruit punch. I don't think anybody even drinks it anymore, do they?
It's like, well, I think they still sell a lot of
They
high C,
sell it?
but it is.
It is. They do it in the fountain drinks. It's a lot of the fountain drinks.
It's like a diabetic coma versus
It's just
Kool-Aid.
sugar water.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
Kool-Aid is nutritious compared to high C.
yeah, it's color flavored sugar
Yeah, there's a lot of high fructose corn syrup in there.
Yeah, that's probably why it's called high C.
Can't say that twice.
Yeah, high corn syrup.
So Hank is very concerned and talking about how nobody in that town has any courage to celebrate Halloween. And while he's saying that, Dale's looking at him from his living room, I guess, and he's got a bullhorn. He's like, Hank, can you turn off my hose while you're out there? So now we transition over to the Hallelujah house. Miss Junie Harper is welcoming all of the would-have-been trick-or-treaters to her house. She is worried about everybody trying to push their way in because it's so popular. The last shall be first and blah, blah, blah. Don't push your way in. We then go into Miss Junie B. Harper's house, which is now the Hallelujah house. First thing we see is a couple in the park. And what I'm guessing is a couple of mannequins that she's set up in her living room here. She's got a beautiful backdrop of like a park.
Well, you thought it was mannequins. They look like they're real human beings.
They may be real human beings.
Looks like she got it looks like she pet all the weird adults that were in the youth group. It looks like they're all now acting out a bit, you know.
The only reason I say that they're not that they're mannequins is they just literally do not
have
move
no expression
the entire
or
time.
movement.
Yeah, they don't move.
Yeah.
But she and what is amazing to me about this Hallelujah house is how much money this thing must have cost. Because like this whole set,
it's production.
This whole set,
it's a production.
Is on a spinner. She can like move it around like.
Well, they
it's
say she's good at litigating, so she might have won some
She
money
might have-
along the way.
She might have won a bunch of Halloween money.
Yeah.
She spins the whole thing around, and she talks about, before she spins it around, she talks about the couple in the park. They're about to engage in premarital sex.
Yeah.
And that, of course, is a sin. And so she spins it around, and now it's the morgue, and it's him and her in the morgue. And she says, I guess the old saying is true. Sex kills. Where is that an old saying?
Yeah, where's that? I've never heard of that. Yeah.
So she then takes the kids or the attendants to the next room. Now we are in her dining
This is
room.
nuts to me. This particular part of the episode is nuts. So they say, "Where's Grandpa?" And then
Because it's a
all of
family
sudden
sitting
it's
down at dinner.
Yeah, family sitting
Yeah.
down at dinner. Sorry, I forgot to set that part up.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's a family sitting down at dinner, and then this dude in a gorilla suit comes out and grabs the baby, which is a doll. Grabs
Oh no,
the baby,
he's eating the baby.
yeah, out of the high chair and starts chewing on it. Because our ancestors are monkeys, and
Well,
that's
our ancestors are monkeys, and they ate babies.
yeah. And then
apparently.
they
Yeah.
said, "Stop him," and she goes, "Honey, we can't. It's against the law to teach creationism."
They're just so fed up. And
Yeah,
then,
it's ridiculous. Yeah,
the
it's
only
funny.
thing that's scary about that is the fact that there's a monkey eating a baby.
Well, the
back-
whole underlying, the whole underlying theme of the absurdity of religion, I think, is funny.
Well, yeah. And the thing that always kills me is that the themes in these Hallelujah houses, or whatever you want to call them,
Scarier.
they're not, but they're adult themes. Like
Yeah.
kids
aren't worried about that.
Kids aren't thinking about
Not Halloween, like
premarital sex ending up in the morgue,
Yeah.
or a monkey eating a baby. I mean, that's not a thing.
That's far fetched.
Yeah, that's not really a thing. So we're back at Hank's house, and Peggy's coming inside, and here's Luann sitting on the couch eating popcorn, and she goes, she asks her where Bobby is. And
Oh, yeah.
Luann's like,
And she sputes off this scripted, well written, well thought out, scripted response. Well, I think that it's better for a child to receive wholesome impressions from
first
established.
she tries to fool Peggy by
Oh,
saying
yeah,
that
yeah,
Bobby's
yeah,
at
yeah.
the gym.
He's at the gym.
That
Yeah,
is-
she starts to act sheepish. I missed
and
that part.
Peggy's
Yeah.
like, Luann,
Luann.
that's not
Yeah, you could have
It's
said a
not
lot of
even a
things,
thing.
but that was the wrong one.
That's right. He ain't at the.
It's like she wanted to have to tell her where he was at. Yeah.
And then she tells her that he is at Junie's Harper's, and again, like you said,
Yeah.
she starts
spouting
this
off.
stuff
Well,
off.
I think that it's better for a child to receive wholesome impressions from established religious authorities than participate in rituals that are conducted by people who don't know they are pawns of the devil.
This is not Luann speaking.
And it's not Luann speaking
No.
because Luann probably doesn't. She probably couldn't spell half that sentence,
That's
let
right.
alone build. She could not build that sentence with that many words and that much thought into it. So this really pisses Peggy off. And this goes back to what I said earlier, where when you're messing with Hank and Bobby, it doesn't matter who you are.
Yep.
Luann included in that. It doesn't matter who you are. So she goes, "Little Missy, you hold it right there. I've had it up to here with your baloney.
I love
I've
that,
taken you.
baloney.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very wholesome Southern term.
Yeah.
I have taken you into my home. I have sheltered and fed you. If you step between my husband and his son, I will cast you out like yesterday's garbage."
Yesterday's garbage.
She goes, "From now on, you leave the parenting to us. We get a magazine.
We get a magazine about it. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is amazing when Peggy gets all worked up.
No, that's great.
Just
Yeah.
love it. Yeah. All right, so we are back outside now, and Peggy knows she's got to break some bad news to Hank about Bobby being at Luann Harper's house, or not Luann Harper, at Junie Harper's house. And so, of course, the best way to break any bad news to Hank is to bring him a cold beer. She hands the cold beer to Hank, and then she tells him where Bobby is. In any other show of any other time, somebody would have done a spit take here.
Oh yeah, they would have spit it all out, but
Yes.
he would. You know, it's cold Alamo. Why would you spit it out? Right?
It is cold Alamo.
You almost. He goes. I came very close.
Very close to spitting out
my beer.
Yeah, it's not even spitting out my beer. It's just spitting out beer.
Beer.
Like it's this golden elixir that just
You can't spit
be,
it out.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah,
hit the
yeah.
ground.
No,
I've
no.
seen that before. Coming from a family of a lot of alcoholics, I've seen them have the cup full of beer and stumble for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like across the yard, but never spill a drop.
Oh yeah.
And I've always told that the arm is the best shock absorber in the world.
So Hank gets very upset when he hears this news. They wrecked his haunted house. They outlawed my trick-or-treating, and now they want to brainwash my boy. It's time for somebody to do something. Yeah. Peggy is very concerned that Hank might go to jail once she sees him back in his tiny little devil costume going out into the neighborhood.
Yeah, and in his noble pursuit, he says, "I knew the risks when I put on the uniform," like Batman or something.
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
I was born in the darkness, Peggy.
I was created by this. So Hank is he is going to save this town and bring back some common sense. And so he puts on the smallest devil costume ever made and goes out.
Puts on his devil costume from the childhood, which is hilarious.
And he goes out into the street and just starts repeating trick or treat.
And if you're wearing clothes that are too tight and your balls start to sweat, use ballsy.
Ballsy. That's right. So this trick or treat thing, Hank he's on a mission at this point.
Yeah, he's on his
So he's
mission.
marching up and down the streets, and he's just screaming trick or treat. And you start seeing his neighbors, peeking out the door, looking out the windows, all of that stuff. Here comes Boomhauer. And he's
Oh, this is funny. I don't need no dang old costume, man. I could be a dang old mime because I'm trying to get out of this box. He starts doing the mime
he
movements.
does the tug of war and the whole
Yeah,
thing.
I said playing tug of war, man.
Now you
Yeah.
got Hank and you got Boomhauer out there trudging along.
And then
here comes Bill.
Here comes Bill.
Here comes a ghost.
Yeah, and then he steps and trips over it and rips a hole in it, and then he says, "Toga!" and then pulls his arm out of it.
The one thing nice is that Bill's ghost at least is all white.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But he
And
does
then,
he does step on it pretty quickly and turn it into a toga.
rips it up.
Yeah.
And then my next favorite. This is my favorite. This is my next favorite part of this this show, this episode. We get Dale now, so Dale pops up. So now you got Dale, and they have all four of them together, and then Dale jumps up, and he's like in this suit, and he goes, "I'm a high-priced Washington
he's been
lobbyist."
prepared for this.
Yeah, he was
This is
ready.
the thing. Yeah, I'm a high-priced Washington lobbyist. About to
Peddling
peddle some influence.
Yeah, peddling influence.
You want
Who
some
wants candy?
Yeah, so now we got the whole crew. They are out there marching up and down, trying to get Halloween restarted, and they're doing a pretty damn good job of it, to be honest with you.
Boom, Luann pops up.
Yep.
and she's in a red shirt tied up like a crop top. And then she's got her hair done a devil.
I guess
because her hair was up like horns. So when she did her hair,
she kind of reminded me of like a Loki or something.
Yeah. So she comes out dressed like a devil or whatever it is that she's dressed as, and then she goes. She says it through tears. Trick or treat, smell my feet. And
the last part, give me something good to eat.
Yeah.
She's just so upset,
blubbered it out.
But she knows. I mean, it's all good fun, and now she's out there to support her uncle and everybody else, and so they're marching, and here come all the other neighbors out, and they're all gonna go to Junie Harper's house now and take care of this thing. We go back to Junie Harper's house, and they're at the end of the Hallelujah House tour.
Yeah, and then you've got like these kids sitting at tables with these adults talking to them.
It's like they're trying to buy cars. You know, because you've got these older guys on there, and they're like, "What's it going to take to get you into this holiday or into this Hallelujah house tonight?"
Yeah, it's really weird. So you get this. He goes, "Okay, Susie, what's going to take you to join the Hallelujah Club?" And then it goes to the next table, and it's this guy looking at him. He looks kind of rough. You know, the guy looks kind of rough. He's like, "You took the brownie. I didn't make you take the brownie.
I didn't make you take the brownie." Yeah. Bobby finally signs on the line of the little certificate that says he's part of the Hallelujah Club. And then Bobby's only concern is, can he have another brownie?
Yeah, that's all he asks about. And then again, Bobby is young and impressionable too. And I don't think he's as dumb as Luann is, but if there's food involved, I think there's a haze.
That is going to trip up Bobby.
Yeah, I think there's a haze. So Bobby's in a brownie, like a brownie stupor right now, only thinking about more chocolate.
Fruit pie or anything with
fruit
any kind
pie,
of
he would have signed 3 of them.
Yeah, he's ready to go. But they end up reaching Miss Harper's house, and they knock on the door, and she's going to go handle it. They're screaming trick or treat again, and Bobby's behind her, and he's like, "Go away, Satan!"
Yeah.
And Hank, of course, is like, "Bobby, it's just a costume."
Yeah.
You know, Ms. Harper is griping about the fact that there's a curfew in effect, Mr. Hill, but I guess you have no respect for man's law either, because she's referring to the fact that he has no respect for God's law.
Yeah.
And then Hank goes into telling Bobby how he really wants to spend time with him. Let's go trick or treating.
We get back into the morality
we
stuff.
We get back into the morality, son. And so he talks about, I'm not going to force you to choose, Bobby. I just wanted to spend Halloween with my son, but I guess I can't do that this year. It just tears my heart out.
Yeah.
And then here goes Hank, and he pulls out this
fake
rubber heart. Yeah. Junie Harper.
It's Junie.
Yeah, she is just livid about the fact that Hank does that.
What do you think you're doing? And then he goes and grabs his face and he
pulls
goes,
an eyeball
boom,
out.
just keeping an eye out for my son. Oh, mercy, what have I done?
Yeah. She doesn't want him to encourage the monster and all this stuff.
Yeah, this is vile. Come on, Bobby. Halloween is just no fun without you, his dad tells him.
Yeah, and she tells him that basically if he leaves now, he's going to lose the keys to the kingdom.
The key to the kingdom.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell that's supposed to
mean. I've heard
mean.
that 1,000 times.
I've heard it 1,000 times, but no matter how many times it was explained to me, I never understood it. I felt like I was Mario looking for a key to save the princess or something. When they would tell me that, I would be like, well, where's the key? Like, is there a physical key?
Being in church as much as I was when I was a kid, I've heard that a million times. And so Hank is just like, come on, son, let's go get some candy. And Harper is like, you're going to go to hell. And Hank is like, well, you'll get candy. And so again, Bobby is right there in the middle, and he's really struggling with this thing here. He doesn't know whether to go with candy, the devil, or heaven and the angel, but no candy.
So again, this is also one of those it's kind of reminiscent of a conscience with the devil on your shoulder and
it absolutely
the angel
is,
on your
you've
shoulder.
Literally got one dressed like an angel and one dressed like a devil.
Yeah.
And Bobby's just like, okay, stop it. I don't care about candy. I just
want
to
be with my dad.
Yeah. And so they finally end up going off, and Harper is so upset. She's like, fine, you go on. There's more room in heaven for me, which is basically the way that all these things always shake out.
Yeah.
If they don't get their way or they
scream at you and you're the devil.
Yeah. And so Hank
Thou shalt
tells
not
him,
cast judgment.
yeah, they don't read that part.
No, they don't.
He tells Bobby that we got to go home and scare up a costume for him, and you basically got the entire neighborhood now, and they're all dressed up.
Everybody's
marching
having a
around.
good time, and then
I don't. But here's my issue. Okay, whose house are they getting candy from if the whole neighborhood is out?
I think that it would be who because it's
There's nobody left to give out
I guess
candy.
there's just buckets on the front porch with candy in it.
I guess it's one of those take one buckets.
And this is a real sweet scene with Bobby and his dad. So they're walking away, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, I was just kidding before. I care about candy. I care a lot.
I care a lot. Yeah,
I care a lot."
we get our credits, and
We get the Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy
Dang old
Halloween,
boom, man.
everybody,
So Happy Halloween on June 1st.
That's right. Happy
2020.
Halloween on June 1st, 2022. Yeah, man, this is a wonderful episode. It again is wrapped in that family love and father son bond kind of thing, and even you get even some motherly love with Peggy. Even defending Bobby to Luann, which doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, not very often.
Boy, if you
because she
piss her
does
off,
overstep her bounds a
you're
lot.
screwed.
She does overstep her bounds a lot because she is much older than Bobby. You know,
Yes.
she's at least 10 years older than Bobby. You would assume if Bobby's 12, she's at least 22, if not older. Actually, she might be in her mid-20s. They don't ever really discuss her age, I don't think. But she's definitely older than Bobby, no matter how old she is. And she does really put him in some weird predicaments sometimes in these shows. And this is just another example of one of the weird places he ends up hanging out with Luann. I mean, he gets himself into some weird places on his own. He didn't really need her help.
No, he doesn't need her help getting in trouble. I know that. No, definitely getting into
not at
weird
all.
places. The boy ain't right.
The boy ain't right.
The boy ain't right.
From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Well, man, we are down another episode.
Yep, that was season 2, episode 4.
Yeah, we're
Hilloween.
moving on to episode 5 next.
Yep.
You guys, thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate it. And thanks again to our fact checker, insert name here. We would love for somebody out there to check our facts because we don't always get it right. We just love this show, and we enjoy doing it for you guys, and hope that you enjoy it as well. We got a lot of downloads, and we can't thank you enough for that.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So you can find us on social media at BWAAAKOTH on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.
There you go.
We're there.
And you can also check out other shows and us at roguemedianetwork.com. And Rusty, until next time,
Wimatanye.
Wimatanye indeed, and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.
Frozen, frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen, frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Hey, I'm Zach,
And I'm Mike.
and we have a fantastic new podcast to tell you about. Bros, Foes, and Heroes. It's the two of us looking into the world of comics, breaking down some characters that you may have never heard of, and some that are just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so Zach comes up with a character each time, and I go into it just completely blind. I don't know who this person is or what their abilities are or anything, and basically I guess we kind of go over their origin story and just some of the ridiculous stuff that maybe, especially Golden Age stuff.
Oh, Golden Age stuff is always the best, and we will make sure to highlight all of the shenanigans and just absolute weirdness of everything.
Yeah, that's right. So subscribe today and follow us on Instagram at Bros, Foes, Heroes.
And if you don't, I know where you live. Not really, but please subscribe.
Frozen, frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen, frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Welcome to One Star Rewind. a new podcast about those dreaded one-star reviews that every business owner hates to receive, but yet every customer loves to read. During this podcast, we will peel back that one-star review to better understand how it happened, when it happened, and what the business owner is doing after receiving that one-star review. This podcast will be about love, hate, and laughter. On One Star Rewind, we will meet with real business owners who will tell their stories and how they do rely on reviews for their business. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or download us at roguemedianetwork.com. Please subscribe, but only rate and review for not a one-star review. Join us each time for a new review and a new story.